Long ago, before people walked the earth, the world was a harmonious place in the early days of creation. There was always light in the world and everything was good, until one day something happened between the animals that changed everything forever. It was called fighting and jealousy. It started one day when the bear went for a walk out in the forest. Up in a tree, Bear saw a great big piece of fruit, and that looked so tasty that the bear climbed up the tree to get it. And on his way, the coyote saw the bear in the tree, and he thought to himself, I want that fruit too, and I want to take it from the bear. And so the coyote climbed up the tree, jumped on the bear's back, and together they fell on the ground. They started wrestling and made a loud noise fighting over the fruit. All the noise went up into the sky and it awakened Great Spirit. Great Spirit was disappointed when it heard them fighting. It looked down on them. Then it took a blanket and put it over the earth and everything went dark. The animals stopped fighting because they couldn't see their own paws in front of their face. So they stopped fighting and they looked around and they were frightened. They didn't know what had happened. There was no more light. So they thought, let's all get together and talk. The animals gathered together in a circle in a council, and they invited the eagle to join. The three animals thought about what they could do to bring back the light, because they realized that the fighting was selfish. Since Coyote started the fight, he said, I'll go to the top of the tallest mountain, and I will ask Great Spirit for forgiveness. So Coyote went off on a journey to the top of the tallest mountain, and he howled, Please, 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 Great Spirit, forgive us for fighting. Great Spirit did not respond. So Coyote went back home because he had failed. Then Bear said, Let me try to ask for forgiveness. The bear walked to the tallest mountain to ask for forgiveness. Bear said, Please, please, Great Spirit, please forgive us. I am sorry we were fighting. There was no response. So Bear went back to the animals because he failed too. The eagle said, I can fly high into the sky. I can go and I can ask forgiveness for you. The eagle flew up into the sky, higher than the tallest mountain, and landed on a tree. He stood on the tree and asked for forgiveness. He said, Please, please forgive them for fighting. We won't do it again. And the Great Spirit did not say anything. The eagle came back to the animals feeling defeated. The animals sat together in the dark. They thought that if there was a way that they could poke a hole through the blanket, they would see the light on the other side. The eagle said, I can fly up there and poke my beak through the blanket and I'll bring the light. So the eagle with his big wings flew high up into the sky, to the blanket. But he was tired. His body was heavy and he was so tired that he fell back down to the earth. He did not have the strength to fly above the clouds and poke a hole in the blanket. The animals were sad because they did not know what to do. Out of the darkness, they heard a small voice that said, I can do it. And out of the darkness came a tiny hummingbird. The animals looked at little Hummingbird and they said, You're too small, little bird. You'll never be able to fly up there. If the eagle can't do it, you couldn't either. And the tiny bird stood up and said, No, I know I can do it, give me a chance. And they said, Go and try. So, the little hummingbird flapped her wings and flew quickly into the sky, above the clouds and to the blanket. And when she got there, with her long beak, she poked a hole through the blanket. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down through that hole down to the ground where the animals stood. The little hummingbird started to get tired and she fell back down to the earth. She looked up and she said, I can do this. I know I can. The hummingbird flew up high to the sky again and poked more holes through the blanket. With each new hole, another beam of light would come down from the sky. She made many flights to the blanket until she was so tired that she fell to the earth. The animals looked up at the sky and they saw many little lights. They said, Look what you've done, little bird. The hummingbird felt proud. She said, There is one last thing I need to do. And the animals said, No, you are too tired. And she said, No, I need to do this. We need more light. She flew to the blanket one last time. And with one last try, she used her beak and she poked it through the blanket. The light came through, and then she put her whole head through the hole. And then she pushed her whole body through. She flew out onto the other side into the light. Great Spirit, seeing the little hummingbird in the light, felt so proud of her. Great Spirit took her in its arms and kissed her gently, then threw her up and into the light, and set her free to fly. She was gone forever. Great Spirit looked down upon the earth and was happy to see the animals harmonious again. After all the sacrifice the little hummingbird had made, Great Spirit decided to take off the blanket and made it daylight again. The animals were happy, and they understood that fighting was not good. To remember Hummingbird, every day Great Spirit would then bring the blanket back over the earth, and this became day and night. Every night when the blanket was put back on the earth, all the animals would look up at the sky and they could see all the points of light the hummingbird had made. They remembered the sacrifice that Hummingbird had made for them, that she did for all on earth. And they remembered Hummingbird every time they looked up at the sky. And when you go out at night and you look up at the stars, those stars are there because Hummingbird made a sacrifice for her friends. That's the story of how Hummingbird created the stars.